Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another weekly congregation of metal. I am David Grijalva, host of Audible Carnage, the world's greatest heavy metal program. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not the best at math, but if my calculations are correct, this is the fourth album of the week for Audible Carnage. Yes, we've been doing it for one whole month. Give us a round of applause for the consistency here, keeping the metal alive. And of course, I want to give a big shout out to you because I make these videos for you. Yes, you. I see you there watching this at home. You look wonderful. You look great. You look beautiful. I hope things are well. I hope the family's okay. I hope the animals are okay. I hope you're feeling good. But of course, in all seriousness, I do appreciate you checking these videos out, showing an interest in metal, showing an interest in what I do, and putting up with me every single week on your timeline. Today, for our 1 month anniversary of Audible Carnage's album of the week, I do have a very special album. I feel like I do say that every single week, but I only show special albums because it's, you know, this program is about praise and not talking shit, I guess. But this album of the week is actually the first album I'm showing from a group in the big four of thrash metal. Now, if you aren't familiar with the big four of thrash metal, the big four is, of course, Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, and Slayer. Now, four titans of the genre I had to choose from, but I did narrow it down to one specifically, and I narrowed it down to a very underrated, heavily underrated album, in my opinion. And I'll give you a hint as to which band I'm talking about tonight.
Watch him become a god.
So that is right, I'm talking about Megadeth and their 1988 third studio album, So Far, So Good, So What? The album was released on Capitol Records in 1988. It is the only Megadeth album to feature this specific lineup of Chuck Beeler on drums, who happened to be the drum tech of the original Megadeth drummer Gar Samuelson, of course Dave Ellefson on bass, Jeff Young on lead guitar, and Megadeth, and Dave Mustaine on rhythm guitar and vocals. This album to me is like beyond underrated in terms of their entire catalog. It doesn't seem to get enough praise to me personally. This did spawn like a fan favorite with Megadeth songs. This has the song In My Darkest Hour, which of course is a tribute to the late great Cliff Burton. This album, this lineup, and that specific song were also featured on the film Decline of Western Civilization 2, The Metal Years. Fantastic movie if you've never seen it. But let's get into the record. All right, so as always, keep your records protected. Gotta remove your record sleeve, record condom, record rubber, protection, whatever you want to call it. This is my original 1988 US pressing from Capitol Records. It does feature the warning or hype sticker here. It says lyrics may be considered offensive by some audiences. Now, I know the PMRC and companies like that were trying to deter children from buying records with these warning labels and let parents know, but in fact, it did the polar opposite and made kids want to get these albums even more. So good job on that. Megadeth did have a habit, they still do, of making like multi-parted titles for their albums. This one, So Far, So Good, So What? You have Killing Is My Business and Business Is Good, Peace Sells, But Who's Buying, and so on. I think their newest one is called The Sick, The Dying, and The Dead. So it's kind of a staple for Megadeth albums to be multi-part titled. Back features the lineup, the only lineup this band ever had, with these members: Jeff Young, lead guitar, Chuck Beeler on drums, Dave Ellefson, of course, on bass, Dave Mustaine. It also does feature the track listing here. This does feature a cover song. It features a cover of the Sex Pistols' Anarchy in the UK. Lyrics slightly altered to cater more to the United States and not British Parliament. And it actually does feature Steve Jones, Sex Pistols guitarist, doing a guest solo on that song, so that's pretty fucking rad. Now, honestly, this is kind of a short album. It's only 8 songs. Out of the 8 songs, I would say 6 of them are knockout, but even the 2 that I think are the weakest of the album, 502 and Liar, those still stand on their own and are still very, very heavy in their own right. Starts off with a instrumental, Into the Lungs of Hell, super killer. Set the World Afire is actually the very first Megadeth song that Dave Mustaine wrote post Metallica. He wrote it actually on the bus. He wrote the lyrics on the bus back from New York to California on a cupcake wrapper. So when he was super upset from getting fired from Metallica, those were the first ever Megadeth lyrics he penned. Not sure why he waited 3 albums to release that song, but that is the first official Megadeth song ever written. the cover, Anarchy in the UK, Mary Jane to round out side 1. Side 2, 502, then it features, of course, In My Darkest Hour, biggest song probably off the record, Liar, and then it finishes off with Hook and Mouth, a song about censorship. And if you've listened to Megadeth before, you know their songs have to do with government, nuclear holocaust, censorship, just, you know, shit like that, politics. So this album is definitely the same. Open up the inner sleeve. We are showing some under boob, a little under record here because it's slightly split, but we do have a sick photo of the album and all of their tight jeans glory. And then right here we have the lyric sheet, very basic lyric sheet, very basic, but pretty sweet looking release. As I was saying at the start of the video, I think this album is severely underrated and overlooked. And I think it has to do with the fact that the album that came before it was their breakout album, Peace Sells, But Who's Buying? And after this album came their magnum opus, which is Rust in Peace, which is probably the greatest metal album of all time. Yes, I said it. Better than Master of Puppets, better than Ride the Lightning. The greatest metal song of all time is Holy War's The Punishment Due off of Rust in Peace. Yes, I said it. Hot take here on Audible Carnage. Really do think this whole entire album is definitely worth checking out, especially if you're not familiar with some of the deeper cuts on Megadeth's discography. I really think the whole album is killer. Lots of standouts. Like I said, it's an 8-track album. I'd say 6 of them are like incredible tracks. 2 of them, but even the songs are killer. I think it's a super, super solid album. And now, somewhere on the screen after this is going to be my recommended tracks and my overall rating. So Megadeth's So Far, So Good, So What from 1988 is Audible Carnage's album of the week for week 4. And I started a new trend where every Friday when I'm live, Friday night, 9 to 11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That is downtownradio.org/audiblecarnage, 99.1 FM, KTDT Tucson. Every time I'm live, I will start the show off with a song from my album of the week, so be on the lookout for that. If you dig the content I'm putting out, make sure you like, subscribe, follow, share. Tell your grandma, tell your mom, tell your dad, nana, tata, tio, tia, everybody. Tell them all about it. Share metal. The greatest gift of all that you can give to somebody is the gift of metal. It's the gift that keeps on giving. I'm David Grijalva, and of course, as always, in the words of Venom, lay down your soul to the gods rock and roll. And as always, fuck corporate radio.